Lashana Tova, y'all. I'm Pastor Ralph, pastor for the people, and I'm in the pew with you. Happy Rosh Hashanah, y'all. It's the beginning of the new year in the Jewish culture. We always like to make New Year's resolutions, start new habits, try to get rid of some old habits. Researchers tell us that starting a new habit is usually more successful than trying to do away with an old habit. And so it's always good to make a fresh start at the beginning of a new year. Proverbs 22 reminds us that a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor better than silver or gold. The rich and the poor have this in common: the Lord is the maker of them all. We're in a time of great division in our nation. We're in a time of great division in our world. We find people motivated by greed and selfishness and tribalism, xenophobia, hysteria. The list goes on. Did I mention narcissism? People want to divide themselves from others for various reasons. God sort of draws a dividing line here in these passages from Proverbs 22. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. How does one get a good name? Well, doing justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly with your God, the prophet Micah tells us. That's what God requires. Well, how do you get rich? How does one gain silver or gold? Sometimes people act unjustly. Sometimes they're merciless, and sometimes they're arrogant before God, and they get rich, but at what price? The writer of Proverbs goes on to say, "Whoever sows injustice will reap calamity, and the rod of anger will fail. Those who are generous are blessed, because they share their bread with the poor." The blessing of a good name in God's eyes occurs when we are generous, especially with those who cannot repay our generosity: the poor, the powerless, the vulnerable. God's blessing is not on the humble bragging that we see on social media or the righteous indignation that so many seem to thrive on these days. God's blessing is not on the hoarding of riches, but upon the generosity extended to the poor, the hungry, the impoverished, whether they are impoverished in spirit or in the purse. Nothing wrong with being rich, nothing wrong with being poor. The Lord is the creator of us all. That last part is where most of us probably miss the blessing. We're so caught up in dividing ourselves from others that we forget the common ground of humanity, the common ground of God's mercy and love. I pray that you're blessed by God throughout your generosity this year, and that the memory of your good name will be a blessing to your children, your family, and your friends. Lashana Tova, y'all. God loves you. I love you. I'm Pastor Ralph. I'll see you in a pew somewhere soon. Y'all take care of each other.